La ilaha illallah. Wow.
Mustafa H. from Newcastle, UK. How does one perform wudu after having gone through surgery on their nose, where they can't wash or blow their nose for a few days?
Wash your face and just avoid your nose. Most of the ulama of Islam hold the view that putting water in the mouth and the nose isn't mandatory.
Okay.
Most of the ulama, they hold that view, that it's not mandatory. Imam Ahmad and Imam Ishaq, they hold the view, and others as well, that it is mandatory. And that's from the wajh. That's part of the wajh. So based off of the view that it's mandatory, you have to do it. If you're allowed to the best of your ability. You get surgery, just wipe your face, wash your face, leave your nose, inshallah ta'ala. I don't necessarily feel that you have to make tayammum afterwards. I don't feel that that's a correct view, that you have to make tayammum. I believe, from the speech of the ulama, is that if there's a part of your body that you cannot wash, do the best you can, whether you wipe it or leave it. No tayammum with wudu. And Allah knows best.
Initials HA from Arlington, Virginia. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Do you recommend me to pray with shoes with list the people I'm leading takes them off?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. With regards to prayer with shoes, then we mentioned some of its fiqh, and alhamdulillah, a good amount of details and ins and outs. But perhaps what we forgot to mention here is praying in the shoes among a people that are very ignorant, people that are very hostile, people that are very argumentative, and they want to debate and curse and holler and spit and growl for you doing something that's in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. And as Abdul Qawi just said before he left the masjid in the hospital, you can't pray with shoes, but his face is like a baby's bottom. His face is green, or he has razor bumps popping out of his neck. That's okay, but it's haram to pray in shoes. Huh? Sea Breeze or Old Spice, Gillette, huh? The best of what? Allahumma musta'an. So the point we're trying to get to is that it's unfortunate that many Muslims, they'll criticize and attack you for things that are permissible, recommended from the deen. And they're falling to all types of sins, major sins, minor sins, and there's no issue whatsoever. And the person doesn't have enough humility to say, I don't know much. I come from Syria. I come from Sri Lanka. I come from Nigeria. I'm not a scholar. I never was a scholar. I'm a basic Muslim. But I'm a faqih when it comes to you, the American ignorant Muslim. That's not the approach of the average Muslim. A person is automatic, he becomes Ibn Taymiyyah when it comes to something that you're doing, because you're a convert, revert, black Muslim, Caribbean Muslim, whatever the case may be. That's unfortunate. So a person being humble and saying, brother, I don't think it's permissible to pray with the shoes. That's one thing. Or do you know something about praying in the shoes? You look like a religious brother. I always see you reading books. I see you going to class. You wear a gown. You have a beard. Maybe you may know something that I don't. Or obviously, maybe you're more religiously devout than I am. But that's not the attitude of the average Muslim. That's not the attitude. And there's a sense of pride, a sense of looking down upon someone, unfortunately. But that's a long, long, long discussion in itself. A sister who has on pants and a shirt, she finds it mandatory for her to go out her way and talk to the sister that's wearing full hijab and tell her, your children need to behave better in public. Or I saw your son eat with his left hand. You shouldn't eat with your left hand. Or you shouldn't do this. Or in the supermarket, this toothpaste has pork in it. Don't eat those Nabisco cookies, Keebler elves. Huh? Keebler elves are haram. She finds it her business to go out of her way and tell the sister in full hijab. And she has on tight skin pants, her behind is out, her feet are out, high heel shoes, lipstick, makeup like a clown on her face. Tight shirt, her breast in public view for everybody. And she finds it her business to go and tell the full hijabi sister, don't eat the keep the elves cookies. Is that jealousy for the deen, ghayra for the deen, really love for the deen, or is it something deeper than that? And malish, we're not trying to offend anybody or be politically incorrect, whatever. This is a reality. And Muslims who practice and who learn the sunnah, they know that these things are realities. There are a million things wrong in the masjid. And the brother will come up to you with the thobe and the beard and say something to you. A million haram things in the whole shopping complex. The sister walks up to the one sister that has on a hijab and tells her about her children. But the other children running crazy, it's fine. It's deeper than a fiqh issue. It's an issue of race or color or nation or tribe. It's an issue of pride. And the sister or the brother says, well, my father's a scholar back home. Those books that you're reading, my grandfather used to write them in the village on a scroll, on a tablet. So you can't tell me anything about it. You're an American Muslim. This is a sad reality of many Muslims that you could encounter on an airplane, in the supermarket, a co-worker, an employee, an employer, etc. Khairan, inshallah. So with that being said, be careful of who you do this in front of. But it doesn't mean that you have to hide and you have to be afraid of the sunnah. Implement the sunnah. Those who like it, alhamdulillah. Those who don't like it, alhamdulillah. If they ask you a question, explain to them what you know. If they wish to argue and debate with you and criticize you, say thank you very much, brother, shukran. I never asked you for your opinion. Jazakallah khair. Wallahi, I didn't ask you for your opinion. I didn't ask you your approval for me to pray with shoes on. I never asked you your view for me to wear a niqab. You can wear the makeup, have your face out. Alhamdulillah, I'm not judging you. I'm not criticizing you. Even though I could, but I'm not. So why are you judging and criticizing me? If they come and they ask a question and they want to know, they want to learn, then you spread the knowledge. You teach what you've learned. I heard a class. I read the hadith. I was taught. It was explained to me. But don't argue and don't fight. Don't argue and don't fight. My sheikh, my imam, shukran. Gotta go. See you later. I'm out. It's haram to buy the cookies. Okay, thank you. I'll look more into it. You put the cookies in your shopping cart. You keep going. That's it. Because the average person, they want to argue and they want to prove that they know something. And oftentimes people, when they see someone that's trying to practice the sunnah, trying to be religious, trying to seek knowledge, they feel a sense of shame and embarrassment. And oftentimes the only way that they can relieve themselves of this guilt and this shame is to act like they're giving advice and to show that they know something. As the brother said here, right here at the masjid, about the Jumu'ah and the Asr once, he wanted to give a long speech after the Jumu'ah in broken Arabic. He tried his best to speak Fusha. Our brother was from Yemen, about making Salat al-Asr. I said, Jazakallah khairan. Why didn't you remind me? So as I was about to say something else, the older brother, he stopped. He says, Khalas, akhi. Don't say nothing else. He says, because an elephant gets no credit for stepping on an ant. An elephant gets no credit for stepping on an ant. You argue with him, you refute him, you show him what he's saying wrong. No one is no credit. He's trying to get credit by showing that he knows a few things and says in front of the people. So you have to be mindful of this. So therefore, if you have the ability to explain to them, then explain to them. If you have the ability to teach them, then you teach them. If you don't have the time or you want to do it, then implement it. If they come in and ask, teach them. If they want to argue, don't argue. If they come in and tell you that you're wrong, just tell them shukran. Thank you very much. Khalas. And that's it. There's no need to argue. This is America. I don't have to follow and listen to anything that you're saying. We're all workers in this workplace. Shukran. Khalas. Or in the airport. You make your salah, I'll make my salah. That is just that simple. But don't go into a masjid in which it's well known that you don't pray with your shoes on in the carpet. It's the policy of the masjid. Don't go and cause fitna. Don't go and enforce and impose your will on them. And they are ignorant or they're upon another teaching or another school of thought. Don't do that. But if it's a public place or if it's outside or if it's your house, you invite some brothers over, you want to pray in your shoes? Tafaddal, pray in your shoes. And if they ask a question, as we just said, but don't go into a masjid in which people are ignorant. In most cases, the Muslims, they're from another country, they're from another land. Most of the brothers in this masjid, they're working. They came to America to seek dunya. We're not trying to offend anyone. We're not trying to offend anyone, but this is the reality. And Hadithdisciple, we don't believe that we have to apologize for reality. It's the truth. It's not about offending anybody. Okay? But it's the reality. Many people, whether they're Muslim or not, if not most from other countries, they came to America for the American dream, for money. Okay? So don't get into those arguments with those non-educated Muslims that are ignorant, that are oppressive. Many of them are racist. Many of them are nationalists, they're tribalists, they have honor in their jahiliyyah. Unfortunately. And Allah knows best.
Initials NS from Ottawa, Canada. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Hayatullah. How do we deal with people in our communities who are being afflicted with serious shubahat after being exposed to atheist rhetoric, especially when they reject speaking to their community leaders who they feel will not understand them because they are unfamiliar with the basics of subjects like evolutionary biology and quantum physics, which fuel some of the atheist arguments?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hayakumullah. Barakallahu feekum. I mean, somebody has to be able to get across to this person. The person has some type of frequency. If the imam can't talk to the person, then the older brother can. This sister, this brother, this cousin, this teammate, this coach, this student of knowledge, somebody has to be able to get across to this person. Whether it is a personal relationship, this person is old, they're outdated. He's 70 years old, comes from Egypt. He can't understand what a 25-year-old second generation Egyptian Muslim is going through. He's thinking about Egypt. Or whether it's issue of ilm, he doesn't know about quantum physics, but this one does. Friendship, a person being afraid, being embarrassed. They're going to say, I'm an atheist, I'm an apostate, because I have doubts, etc. Somebody has to have the ability to get across to this person. Even if they don't agree, but they have the ability to speak to them. So the one who has doubts about Islam, waliyadu billah, or doubts about certain issues, evolution, quantum physics, etc., it's your job and it's your responsibility to seek the cure, to seek the medicine, to seek the answer, because the answer is out there. And there's nothing that the people can think about and discover and come up with today that they didn't back then. Human beings are the same. So therefore, you have to seek the proper medicine, and you have to be willing to listen to it and to take it. And most importantly, humble yourself. Humble yourself and know for sure that there are people who have brains that were bigger and greater than you. There were Muslims and Muslim scholars years before you even thought of being brought into creation. So maybe humble yourself just a little bit. Let me go back, ask Allah for guidance. Let me humble myself. It's something that I'm thinking or believing that's incorrect. It can't be that there's no such thing as this because of quantum physics. Because there were scholars that were huge minds, intellectuals. They were Muslims wholeheartedly. So it has to be a glitch somewhere. So you have to find that glitch. And oftentimes the glitch is because of lack of humility. And a person thinking that their brain is so awesome and so powerful and so big. And in actuality, when you sit down with other people, you realize that you really don't know that much. And your knowledge is a trifle in comparison to others. وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. Allah says, and above each learned person is someone who knows more. It's someone who learns and knows more. So therefore, it's the responsibility of the one who has doubts to ask, to seek. It's the responsibility of those who know that this person is suffering from these doubts to teach them, to discuss with them, to have a debate with them. And don't sugarcoat it. Be upfront, be open, be public with them. And if you can't talk to the person or the father or the imam, then somebody in the community should be able to. Last but not least, is these issues need to be discussed. They need to be discussed. There needs to be workshops on these things, classes on these things, books being written on these things, prevention against atheism, prevention against these types of major problems before they fall into someone's heart. Because oftentimes, one's heart is like a funnel. Oftentimes it's like a funnel. It's a wide entrance and a very, very small, narrow exit. You can listen to anything, you can see anything, you can watch anything, you can eat anything, you can drink anything, you can inhale anything, you can inject anything simply. But getting off of it, leaving the addiction, leaving you know what, that makes a little sense now. If you think about it, and then it's hard to leave, waliyadu billah. So we have to have preventative measures for keeping our children, our brothers and our sisters, college students, from these thoughts of atheism, waliyadu billah. Also, we need workshops, classes, lectures, books, seminars, webinars on dealing with these doubts after they take place. How to debate, how to combat these problems. And some of these doubts may be strong. They may be very strong especially to the weak-minded, or the simple-minded, or the untrained people. So all of these things are all bid'night ta'ala. They're from the things that the Muslims have to do in 2018 in general, let alone when the Muslims live as inferiors in 9 out of 10 aspects of life in these Western countries. In Canada, Ontario, the Muslims financially, politically, military, security, this, that, infrastructure, business, da 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 da, the arts, poetry, this and that. Most cases, the Muslims are inferior. They're at the bottom of the barrel, the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to these worldly things. So them being inferior automatically leads them and pushes them to looking towards their superiors for guidance and direction. That's basic human psychology. Basic human psychology. These people who came to our country, they deserve to conquer us. Look at their boats. Look at their ships. Look at the gold. Look at the pearl necklaces and the pots that they have. Look at their fire sticks. They have muskets that shoot bullets that travel far, spark like that. We have spears, bows, and arrows, which may be superior weapons, more effective weapons. How long does it take a person to load a musket? How accurate is it? What happens if the musket falls in the water or gets sand or dust or dirt in it? Huh? What happens to it? Well, how many things can you do with a bow and arrow? How quick can you shoot arrows? How accurate? How silent is it? You shoot the musket, everyone knows the shot was let off. Bow and arrow is stealth. It gets wet, it gets dusty, it gets dry. You have it for life. Needs no bullets, needs no powder. But they thought that they were the superior, fire sticks. So therefore, these people who came off in these great boats, read the history of the Spanish Inquisition. Read about the Mayans and the Aztecs and the Incans. Read about them. Pizarro and Cortez. Read what those indigenous, quote-unquote, those Indians said when they saw them. They thought they were gods. They thought they were gods with their shining armor. So many of them fought back. And many of them, they said, it's no point in fighting back because they're better than us. They're superior. So let us adopt their names. Let's adopt their Christianity, their Catholic religion. Let's eat what they eat. Let's do what they do. So when someone feels inferior and they're looked down upon, it often leads them to look towards the superior for guidance. So we have to be very careful living as minorities. We have to be very careful. May Allah Azza wa Jalla protect all of the Muslims from all misguidance. Ameen. Allah Azza wa Jalla should knows best. Thank you very much for your time.